with former President Trump, who will try to win over union voters tonight here in Michigan. Meantime, there's some news that the ongoing auto worker strike could be expanding. The UAW president, Shawn Fain, is expected to announce additional walkouts on Friday, unless, of course, the union makes substantial progress in negotiations with Detroit's big three automakers. Now let's go back for a moment to 2020, Michigan's exit polls. Among voters who had a labor union member in their household, 62% voted for President Biden, 37% voted for Donald Trump. But at the national level, that margin is slightly more narrow, 56% for Biden, 40% to Trump. Over to you guys in D.C. now. Chris, how does Donald Trump potentially close that gap as he descends upon Michigan here in the upcoming hours?
Well, I mean, look, even marginal changes in important demographic groups for either party can be important. When you have a real tent pole like union support for Democrats, that's important. But we got to remember, the majority of union support for Democrats is coming from government worker unions and service sector unions, not industrial unions. Industrial unions are something like 6 or 7% of the country. And there's the band. I better be able to deliver in this riff. But the reality, of course, is that Donald Trump's not going to win very many more union votes. But what he can do is persuade union-adjacent households, people who have blue-collar sympathies, want to see themselves as aligned with working voters. That's the big outreach of the Republican Party. So for Trump, it's not just trying to pick off a few union votes here and there. It's about persuading more working-class voters to leave the Democratic Party and come to the Republican side.
Mick, can that gap be closed?
By the way, when they start playing "You Can't Always Get What You Want" by the Rolling Stones, that means his arrival is imminent. You can close the gap, I would think. Certainly, these labor voters the manufacturing voters are up for grabs. I'm surprised to hear for the first time as I sit here that he's speaking to a non-union auto working operation tonight. If you're trying to appeal to industrial union workers, that's actually kind of a slap in the face. I'd be curious to know what the reasoning was behind that decision-making. That may be something that comes back to bite them in the next couple of days. Be curious to see what the polling data says after his presentation tonight.
Chris, you worried about Trump in Michigan going forward? I mean, this was a state that was razor close in 2016. He flipped. It expanded again and flipped back in 2020. But it seems like he's certainly making a play here again.
Well, certainly the message from Donald Trump to his party is the primaries are over. We're on to the general election. We're competing in a battleground state, and we're appealing to voters. And I think an important thing to remember here is most Republicans don't side with organized labor, right? We have lots of data to suggest that while there are substantial union sympathies inside the Republican Party, mostly, and when I say mostly, we're talking 55, 65% of Republicans, depending on how you ask the question, would be prone to side with management, not labor. And especially in a case like this, where you have, Bernie Sanders showing up, and they want a 4-day work week and all of that stuff. So there is a danger here for Trump. And the danger is that the primaries become something of a trap game. If you're looking ahead into the general election, and he's already aggravated pro-life voters in Iowa, if he aggravates free market voters by seeming to be too sympathetic to the progressive and union cause, those little things can add up over the course of a long campaign.
So not only do we have the marching band, but we also have two Chris's on set. Chris Hahn, that question was to you as well, which with Trump coming here from the Democratic perspective, does that concern you at all looking forward?
Look, I worry about everything. I think that Democrats need to be worrying about everything, especially the polling that we've been seeing. I look at that union number that you put up earlier in the broadcast, and that number seems too tight for me, even as it appears to be a wide margin. It's not. Years ago, union voters would have gone 70-30 for the Democrat over the Republican. So, yeah, I worry about it, but I do think that Gretchen Whitmer and the Michigan Democrats have done a great job in Michigan. She's highly popular. I think that will translate to the Democratic candidate come November of 2024.
All right, guys, stand by. 3 hours from now, as we've talked about, it will be former President Trump's turn to address non-union auto workers.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.